If you have ever planted something with your whole heart and then watch it struggle, die, or not grow at all, then this video is for you. I do agritourism and flower farming on my farm in northwestern Wisconsin, outside of Rice Lake and Hagen, Wisconsin. And something in the past couple of years has been feeling kind of off. Last year in 2024, I had the plan to start planting in April and May to really get an early start on the season. And then due to the rains, it just did not happen. We had rain in April, pretty much all of May. I think we had like 1 week that was decent to plant, and then into June. So it really pushed my planting season back. And I didn't think nothing of it. And I noticed like everybody's crops were struggling. Gardens were struggling. I was getting calls asking if I had cucumbers, because cucumbers that normally did well were not growing at all. So I just casted it off to it was a rough season. And it really was. That was very, very much a reason why everybody in this region really struggled with what they were growing. The harvest just was not the same as the previous years due to the amount of rain we got in the beginning of the season. My first year of planting, I was out in the field and I noticed a farmer had his equipment pull up to spray pesticides, and I didn't think anything of it. He went to work, I was busy working, and all of a sudden I was wet. Like my face, my skin, my clothes. And the pesticide spray was drifting across from his field onto my field and onto me. So I stopped what I was doing, I went in, I took a shower, changed my clothes, and just took it as a keep in the back of your mind, when that equipment pulls up, do not be out there in the field. Spray drift happens when pesticides are sprayed and it's picked up by the wind and it is carried. And it can go a few feet, a few hundred yards, even up to a mile. And this can be concerning because it can affect what you're trying to grow, it can affect the wildlife, the environment, and your health. And in many places, it is illegal to spray when winds are more than 10 to 15 miles per hour. I've been researching this and found that it is illegal in Wisconsin. My friend was telling me about this, and this is how the whole conversation started, because I noticed I'm having my early rows of plants really, they're not doing anything. And I've been questioning everything I've been putting into this. And my friend's in Texas, and she said, could it be spray drift? And I said, I don't know. And we began this conversation, and she said it's a very serious thing, especially if people, like farmers, are spraying their own wineries. They crack down on it really hard, and often farmers in Texas will spray at night when the winds are not as strong. Last year, I saw the equipment pull up, I left the fields, and I watched them spray and drift across the road and onto my fields. And last year I was just really surprised with all the care I put into it and planting, and they just struggled. My flowers just really, really struggled. The weeds did fine, but the plants that I planted, the flowers and the vegetables, just struggled. And I just thought, okay, well, it's a wet season and we're all in the same boat. And now this year, the early seeds I planted are not growing well, and they're not growing at all. And I mentioned this to my friend last night, and that's where this conversation of spray drift began to take place. So of course I Googled it immediately and found that Wisconsin does have regulations with winds of 10 to 15 miles per hour. So of course that got me thinking and starting to really wonder if what is happening across the road with the spraying for the row crops, if that's affecting my crops. And this year, a neighbor was helping me with the chicken pen, and we were outside working on it, and the sprayer rolled by, and he said, should we even be outside? And I made the comment that with the trees and the barns, it doesn't come our direction, but sadly how I have witnessed and watched it go straight across onto my field. And he said, I don't even know if I want to be outside when they're here. And I don't blame him. And I said how the first year I got covered in it. And he was like, that's awful. Like, he shouldn't have sprayed knowing that you were over there. And I'm like, well, it wasn't taken in consideration. He just did it. And he had to have known the winds were going to carry. If you're doing that line of work, there should be an awareness of of the regulations of when you can and cannot spray. And if there's someone out there, and I get it because they schedule this in advance and they have a tight schedule and they're trying to get everybody covered, but unfortunately it literally covered me. And now I'm wondering, after the research I did last night, after this conversation I had with my friend in Texas, if the neighbor, when he's spraying his crops, are poisoning mine. And someone can say, well, your weeds are still growing. Well, weeds can become resilient to sprays over the years. They just build up that resilience. It's adapt and change. It's part of Darwinism. And my flower seeds, they're not protected against that. That's why I don't use pesticides. I only use diatomaceous earth. I go out and use organic and holistic methods for bug, control and things like that. So, and I weed by hand, or I have a little, I call it a claw. It's been mentioned in other videos. If they haven't been posted yet, they'll be posted soon. But it's just starting to make me wonder how the neighboring farms and their practices are affecting what I'm doing. So as you can see here, like, broccoli is doing well, the lettuce is doing well, and my corn and pumpkins, I mean, so are the weeds of course, but that's why I'm out here today. The corn and pumpkins are doing well. Oh man, the carrots are doing great. And with that said, this area doesn't get hit with the spray. It's that direction. So this wouldn't have been affected at all. And what I planted in here is doing great. And what's struggling is what's directly across the road from where the spray drift happened. This is what I'm concerned with. Weeds can get resilient to pesticide spray. And I'm not seeing, this whole section was planted first, along with this row and that row, and I think that third row. This is all done first, and then across the road they sprayed. This was planted way later, and it's doing great. This should be rows and rows of zinnias, and I've got like 1, 2, 3. This should be rows of it. It should be like, it shouldn't be like this. So that's where I'm got what, 3, 4 zinnias coming up, versus look at how well this is doing. And shortly after this was planted, I got that spray drift over here. So that's what I'm wondering, if I'm being affected and having my crops poisoned by what the neighbor's doing. And I should be specific, that neighbor is not farming, they're renting it out to a row crop farmer. And I try to emphasize, like, I know their importance, but with the rules and regulations of you're not supposed to be spraying when winds are 10 to 15 miles per hour, and that's not being adhered to, that's my concern. And especially when another neighbor was helping me with my chicken pen on this particular day and commented about the wind and the spray and the drift. So yeah, I'm not out to be the bad guy, but here's the thing. If you don't advocate for yourself, if you don't speak up for yourself, no one will. You have to be willing to speak up for yourself. You have to be willing to advocate for yourself. So I'm not trying to make anybody the bad guy. I'm not trying to shame anybody. It's part of the practice, and I understand why they do it. However, if it's affecting my crops, that's not okay. And that's why those regulations are in place, to prevent that. And so I'm just here to raise awareness. Like, I don't want anyone to think I'm trying to start trouble. It's just, this is the behind the scenes of what happens with someone who is trying to grow locally. And I knew from the beginning it would be very unlikely I would be able to be organic because of the row croppers around me. So, but I do organic and holistic practices. There's gaps in between the flowers, and for my business, that's a loss, and that's concerning. So, like I said, I don't want to get anybody in trouble. I want to be respectful of the neighbor. I want to be respectful of the neighbor who's renting it to the farmer. I want to be respectful to the farmer, but I also want them to be respectful of my practices and be aware of the regulations. And maybe they don't know. Now, the person who's spraying, they should know. And in regards to the gaps that I was just pointing out, I just want to make sure that I add, there's different variables that could factor into why there are gaps, like large gaps between the budding plants. So I'm aware of that. I just want to state that I am aware. However, the drift still concerns me. So a little advisory warning statement, I guess, before someone comes at me and is like, oh, well, lots of things could cause that. I know that. It could be a bunch of different reasons. So I am aware of that, but I'm also vastly aware of the difference of what's growing in this row versus these rows and the time frame factor between when that drift happened. So that's the concern that I am pointing out. Just a little PSA to my statement that I'm making here in this video. Well, on this topic, I just want to say the reason that row crop farmers and commercial farmers spray pesticides, herbicides, and fungicides is to benefit their crops and to get a better yield. And it's just part of their process. And their seeds are genetically modified to be able to handle that type of spraying on their crops so that they can get the type of yield that they need to be able to run their own business. So I'm not bringing this subject up to shame anybody. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to anyone who does this practice, but I'm just raising the awareness. I bring this up simply because spray drift has regulations for a reason. Because farmers like myself, gardeners, growers who don't have genetically modified seeds, we can be affected. And that's the reason I'm bringing this conversation to the table, is to raise that type of awareness. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to anyone who does participate in this form of practice for their particular farming style. And the reason I wanted to just kind of give this disclaimer, I am surrounded by farmers who do row crops and commercial farming. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to anyone, but I am trying to raise awareness about spray drift and to advocate for myself and my farm and growing practices. So what can I do about it? I started tracking wind speed, I'm documenting everything, and I'm just speaking up about this, not to shame anybody, but just to raise awareness and to protect my business, this land, and the product that I'm growing. If you are a grower, a farmer, a small farmer, a gardener, I just want to raise the awareness of what you may need to do to protect what you are growing. If you're a consumer, I want to share the real story about the behind the scenes of what it takes to grow locally. I am grateful for this farm. It is such a blessing, and I want to carry the legacy from my parents forward. I'm rebuilding something I believe is really beautiful, and I don't want the silent damage to go unchecked anymore. So if you yourself have dealt with spray drift, I would love to hear from you. Or if you're a farmer with some tips, please put it in the comments. I appreciate you being here on my journey. Make sure to like, subscribe. It not just supports the channel, it supports a farmer. And I appreciate you being here.